Hi friends, in a previous video we have seen some of the important points regarding the culture of Indian major carps. Dear friends, it is your paper number 13th, aquaculture and fish nutrition, and our topic is culture of Indian major carps. Dear friends, in the earlier video we have seen the introduction of culture of major carps, objectives of the culture, qualities of major carps, and some pictures of that major carps. As well as we have also seen the food and feeding habits of major carps, and today we are going to see what is the exact culture practices is to be carried out during the rearing, culturing of Indian major carps. Dear friends, these Indian major carps, as we have seen in earlier lecture, they can withstand, they can survive at many type of adverse condition because they are very resistant to the physico-chemical change in the physico-chemical properties. Dear friends, during the culture system there is a particular program. The culture of that fishes, culture of Indian major carps, is carried out by using certain important steps, important phases of the culture. So how we will just go through the culture program? Dear friends, after the collection of the fish seeds from fish seed production center, we have to rear it at our own fish farm, and we have to go through the different type of steps. What are that steps? That is the certain common practices which has to be carried out before the stocking of the fish seeds. We have to prepare the pond as per the norms. So what are certain common type of preparation for all the ponds generally? That are draining and drying, plugging, liming, fertilization, and eradication of predatory insects as well as weed fishes as well as the predatory fishes also. Similarly, we have to go through the control of aquatic weeds, the stocking of that ponds with desirable stage of life, their supplementary feeding, their supplementary fertilization, and so on. Let us see what is the draining and drying. So here draining means whatever the earlier ponds are there, during the preparation of that pond you have to drain all the pond, you have to empty the pond and dry it for several days. So by emptying and drying of the pond, whatever type of harmful type of the microorganisms, predatory insects as well as predatory fishes and weeds, ultimately we can get rid from these problems. So draining and drying will provides, that is, oxidation of organic matter take place with the help of draining as well as drying. So whatever the organic material is there, the oxidation of that organic material take place, as well as whatever the harmful gases which are produced into the soil, into the bottom of the pond, that can be released very easily by plugging as well as draining of the pond. So this is a drying is an essential step. For what? For the oxidation of organic matter, to release the different type of harmful gases such as ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, which is found into the bottom of the pond. Due to the drying also, here this drying will kills the harmful pathogenic organisms and so on. Similarly, whatever the you may call as the different type of unwanted aquatic weeds are there, that weeds can also be just controlled, that can also be just you may call as removed, will dry with the help of drying of the pond. So unwanted aquatic weeds, microorganisms, the pathogens, ammonia, hydrogen sulfides. So these are the several type of the harmful factors are there. We can remove that harmful factors by the drying. This drying should be carried near about 7 to 10 days. Up to what extent? When the soil becomes cracks. The cracks will found on the soil surface, bottom surface, and at that time that is enough type of drying to that particular ponds. So it is regarding the drying as well as draining of the pond. After draining and drying of the pond, we have to follow the second important step, that is known as plowing or plugging also. In Marathi it is known as the Nangarni. So this plowing and plugging of that pond bottom is also essential. For what purpose? Pond is having different layers of the soils. The upper layer of the soil, upper layer of the pond is a fertile. So when we are going to plug that pond bottom, so whatever the upper fertile layer of the soil, layer of the bottom is there, that will turn on. So it will properly, that upper layer, a fertile layer, will mix with the remaining soil. Thus the entire soil will get a uniform type of the mixing, and whatever important substances, micronutrients are there, they will mix properly. Besides that, what happens by plugging, plowing? Here the aeration of the soil will take place, and due to the aeration, that soil particles, due to the drying as well as due to aeration, that soil particles dry very well, and just whatever the harmful as well as the pathogenic organisms are there, that will get killed. Besides that, here it will go through the proper mineralization of the nutrients. So whatever the important nutrients are there to the surface of that pond bottom, due to the plugging, they will mix very well uniformly into the soil. So this is the proper use of the plugging. After the draining, after the drying, after the plowing, the one important step comes, that is known as a liming. There are several types of limes are there that have been used into the agriculture as well as the industry also. But we are more concerned with the aquaculture, therefore you have to use the most suitable type of the lime is agricultural lime. Generally the limes are in the form of ground limestones, that is called as CaCO3, hydrated lime, that is CaOH2. Similarly, the quicklime, that is CaO. These are the various type of limes that can be used in the process of liming of the pond. So the liming is nothing but simply the application of the different type of limes to the pond bottom, of course, before the stocking with the water, before stocking with the fish seeds. So after the drying, after the plugging, this liming step has to be carried out. This liming also useful for killing the harmful insects. Of course, this itself, it is a antiseptic in action. Lime is an antiseptic in action, therefore it will kill the harmful insects, the parasites, the pathogens, different type of worms and their larvae also. So ultimately we are removing such type of harmful insects, parasites and so on. We know very well the productivity of the pond is depend upon various factors. The productivity of the pond is depend upon various type of factors. What are these? What are that? Here, that are nothing but the texture of the soil, water retention capacity of the soil, pH of the soil, organic carbon of the soil, of course available nitrogen also and available phosphorus also. So this nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, organic carbon, pH, water retention capacity as well as the texture of the soil is directly and indirectly responsible for a good type of productivity of the pond. Here this liming will helpful for the mineralization of the organic matter, organic load, improving the pH of the soil, pH of the water, and it also useful for it is also useful for neutralizing the acids, and it retains the appropriate type of the pH, that is near about 6.5 to 7 pH is generally required for the aquaculture, fish culture. This lime is having a particular dose. Generally this lime, here dose are also there. This ground limestone that are in the form of stone, we call as in Marathi chunkhadi. So these limestones generally use 140 kg per hectare. That means for 1 hectare we have to approximately apply 140 kg of the limestone. This dehydrated lime is also having its particular dose per hectare. 140 kg of lime is generally applied for 1 hectare. Similarly, the quick lime, that is CaO, it generally requires near about 200 kg per hectare. So near about from 140 to 200 kg of the lime is generally used for the better you may call as the productivity of the pond. This liming is very important for buffering, for maintaining the proper pH of the you may call as the soil also. After the liming, after the application of liming, there is another one step is that is known as pond fertilization. The application of different type of fertilizers to the pond is nothing but the pond fertilization. There are several types of the organic as well as the inorganic fertilizers are available into the market, and the fish farmers can choose whatever he want. So what is the role of fertilization? Dear friends, you know very well, when the fishes are in an early condition, that means when fries are there, when fishes are in the fry stage or early fingerling stage, we should have to take care of their food material. So this fertilization is directly related with the production of natural food material into the pond bottom. Dear friends, generally when we stock the fish seeds to the nursery pond, you should take care that bottom of the nursery pond should be full of natural food material. That means that pond should have a proper amount, proper density of natural food material. Why? Because in a nursery pond, we are rearing a very early stage of life of fishes that is known as simply the spawns, or you may call it as the fries. So these early larvae of the fish, the spawns, were to stock into the nursery pond up to what? Up to they attain the fry stage. So this early spawn does not having ability to collect, to get a external type of food atom, a large size of the food atom, a hard size of the food atom. Therefore, these early larvae of the fishes, the early fry will prefer a natural food material than the artificial type of food material. Why they are not choosing artificial type of food material? Because their digestive system is not well developed to digest such type of artificial food. Therefore, they have to depend only on the natural food material which are available into the ponds. So that is the main key of fertilization of the pond. That means in a fertilization of the pond, we are adding a certain type of micronutrients which are responsible for growth of phytoplanktons and zooplanktons. So the production of phytoplanktons and zooplankton is possible by application of different type of the organic as well as the inorganic type of fertilizers. Generally, the early larvae of the fishes, early fry of the fishes, particularly we are talking about the Indian major carps that are planktonic feeders. They feed upon the zooplanktons as well as the phytoplanktons. Among that, some are the phytoplankton feeder, some are the omnivorous also. So, due to the application of different type of organic and inorganic fertilizers, the productivity of that pond increases and it tends to increase the good density of zooplankton and phytoplankton, and that zooplankton and phytoplanktons that are nothing but a natural food material of developing young ones, and when they get a good quantity, good type of, good size of natural food material, ultimately there will be the proper growth of the young ones. This is maintained, the food is maintained by application of different type of organic and inorganic fertilizers in the form of nitrogen, sodium and potassium. Generally we call as NPK. These are the micronutrients, and these micronutrients are we have to add into the ponds in different form, in the form of organic as well as in the form of the inorganic manures. So what are the organic type of fertilizers? What are the organic manures? Of course, whatever the waste, whatever the products which are coming by the living things, that means plants and so on, that material is known as the organic type of fertilizers. That means fertilizers which is formed by using a living things. It may be the waste of the animal, it may be the waste of the plant material, waste of the farmyard. So that is known as simply the organic type of material. And when we are using a certain type of the chemicals for promotion of the zooplankton and the phytoplankton, that is ultimately called as the inorganic type of fertilizers. So by using the organic as well as the inorganic fertilizers, we are going to increase the productivity of the pond. So these hence that application of different type of fertilizers are very important. Here that there are several type of organic manures. You know very well, cow dung it is the cheapest and easily available type of organic manure. So the cow dung as well as the poultry waste, farmyard waste, the composting and so on, these are nothing but simply the organic manures. Why we are going to use again? Because that organic manures, they decompose slowly and release the nutrients slowly into the pond time to time. They promote the growth of zooplanktons and phytoplanktons. Similarly, they promote the, you may call as the DETEC. They will supply such type of NPK to the developing zooplanktons and phytoplanktons. Here, these you may call as this poultry waste, poultry manure is having very good quality than the cow dung. So this cow dung, mostly manures, cow dung is to be used near about 5 to 10 tons per hectare. What is the ratio? How we have to? What is the dose of that cow dung? It is near about 10 to 15 tons per hectare has to be used. Later on, this phase is again repeated within 15 to 20 days. The second phase of application of the cow dung is also required in between 15 to 20 days. This, when you are using, here I told that this cow dung, it is the cheapest and good type of the organic manure which is providing the important type of micronutrients, that is sodium, potassium as well as the phosphorus. This similar to this micronutrients, that poultry waste is also having good high percentage of the NPK. Therefore, when we are using the poultry manure, you should have to make a half of the amount of the cow dung. When we are applying the poultry waste, poultry manure, at that time it is not necessary to use the 5 to 10 tons per hectare. You have to make half of the volume per hectare. That means you can use the 3 to 6 tons of the cow dung for per hectare. Hence, these manures, of course organic manures, that are also useful for promoting the proper growth of zooplankton and phytoplankton. Finally, that planktons are acting as a natural food material of developing young ones. Dear friends, like the organic manure, there are several type of inorganic manures, inorganic fertilizers are there. See here, what is difference between organic and inorganic? Organic matter, organic manure is also providing the sodium, potassium as well as the phosphate, we call as NPK, but that are by the decomposition of that waste step by step, so and slowly. But in case of inorganic type of fertilizers, that are simply purely the chemicals. So that chemicals, the concentration of the chemicals must be rise in a pond suddenly. Therefore, when we are using such type of inorganic type of fertilizers, you have to take the care of their particular doses, per hectare doses. What are that? That are urea, ammonium sulfate, liquid ammonia. These are generally, as well as the phosphate. There are the single superphosphate, triple superphosphates are there. Single superphosphate, that is SSP, and the triple superphosphate, that is TSP. So SSP and TSP, single superphosphate and triple superphosphate, that are also used for the production of the zooplankton and phytoplankton. These phosphates has to use near about 25 to 30 kg of that superphosphate per hectare. It is recommended as superphosphate is recommended near about 25 to 30 kg per hectare. When we are using a single type of superphosphate, it is recommended 114 kg per hectare. We have to make the amount, that is 114 kg per hectare. And when we are going to use a triple superphosphate, that is TSP, it should be near about the 55 to 57 kg per hectare is recommended for the triple superphosphate. In combination with the organic as well as the inorganic fertilizers, we can promote the growth of zooplankton and phytoplankton very quickly, and within a short period we can just make available a natural food material to the developing young one of the fishes. After the, see here, I am repeating again, here when we see the culture practice, it starts from the draining, the drying, the plugging, liming, fertilization with the help of organic and inorganic fertilizers. Now come to the next step of that preparation of that program, that is control of aquatic weeds. So that aquatic weeds, when we are stocking that pond with the water, see here, after the application of the different type of fertilizers, organic manures, inorganic manures and other type of factors, there is a stabilization of the pond is essential. That pond should be stable for a little days. After application, we have to wait for 8 to 10 days for their complete process. So these these aquatic weeds that are also important. Why? You know very well, weeds or whatever the type of grasses are there, whatever the type of unicellular algae are there, multicellular algae are there, so that as well as the phytoplanktons are there, unicellular up to the multicellular. Weeds are there, grasses are there, planktons, phytoplanktons are there, that are also having important role into the fish culture, because that are directly acting as the natural food material of the some of the, you may call as herbivorous type of the fishes. But when they are useful, when they are present in a limited, you may call as range, in a limited quantity, when the aquatic weeds are present in a limited quantity, that are beneficial for the pond, but when there is excessive growth of aquatic weeds, it will become harmful for the fishes, as well as the entire health of that pond will just become decrease. Health will become just decrease. So this control of aquatic weed is also essential. So before seeing the control of aquatic weeds, what is the role? Here, when they are less, what happens? And when they are excess, what happens? When they are less, no doubt that aquatic ecosystem is getting the oxygen from the photosynthesis. During the daytime, whatever the aquatic plants are there, that will release the oxygen, and that oxygen will dissolve into the water, and hence water will become enriched with the oxygen. We call as DO, dissolved oxygen. But at the same time, when these aquatic weeds extend, excessive growth is there, at that time what happens? No doubt, this aquatic weed provides the oxygen through the process of photosynthesis. But what happens when there is a excess growth? So here, at the same time, you know very well that plants are giving the oxygen during the daytime and gives the carbon dioxide during the night time. So whenever there is an excess of the aquatic weeds are there, ultimately during the daytime they will give the excess type of the oxygen, and during night time they will give the excess amount of the carbon dioxide. And whenever there is a saturation, there is a more saturation of the carbon dioxide, at that time it will harmful for the fish health. The fish may be die, a batch of the fish, the entire batch of the fish may be die. Therefore, that aquatic weed should be controlled and should be kept in a proper ratio of the pond. And no doubt that aquatic weeds can be removed by different methods. You know very well there are several type of aquatic weeds are there. The aquatic weeds which are growing on the margin of the pond, that are known as marginal type of the weeds. The aquatic weeds which will grow to the bottom of the pond, that are known as aquatic weeds which are grow on the bottom of the pond, that are known as submerged type of the aquatic weeds. Similarly, there are emergent type of the aquatic weeds are there. So the submerged, emergent, marginal and floating type of the aquatic weeds are also there, and that has to be controlled by different methods, different ways. This will come here, how to remove, how to control the aquatic weeds. Simply there are three methods are there. One is the biological method, one is chemical method, another one is the physical mechanical type of the methods. So the mechanical method is there, chemical method is there, and biological method is there. So by using these three types of the method, we can control the aquatic weeds. When we are using, what is the physical, what is the mechanical method of control of aquatic weeds? What is the mechanical method of aquatic weeds, control of aquatic weeds? By using a different type of machines, by using a different type of tools, we have to control that weeds. Simply that is known as the mechanical type of control of aquatic weeds. And when we are using a different type of the chemicals, different type of pesticides, as well as different types of the chemicals, at that time that we can say that it is of the chemical control of the aquatic weeds. And using the biological agent, we can say that it is a biological method of aquatic weed controls. So by using a different type of the controlling method, maybe the mechanical, maybe the chemical, maybe the biological, we have to anyhow to control the aquatic weeds. In case of biological method, it is very safe. We are using a different type of biological agents, for example the grass carps. By releasing the grass carps into the ponds, we can also control that aquatic weeds. So it is little bit about the control of aquatic weeds. Dear friends, we shall stop here. The remaining part we shall continue into the next video. Thank you very much.